Lend me your ears for a couple minutes. Most people are convinced they think for themselves. They believe their opinions, comfort levels, and snap judgments are the product of independent reason. In reality, the human brain is a predictable machine that processes sensory data in roughly 200 milliseconds, long before conscious logic can intervene. By the time a person formulates a single thought, their subconscious mind has already decided whether a situation, an environment, or a human being represents a threat or an asset. This millisecond gap is where perception is manufactured. The brain relies heavily on heuristics, cognitive shortcuts developed through past exposure and repeated environmental cues. When a person experiences a sudden rise in heart rate or a subtle tightening in their shoulders upon seeing someone, they rarely question the physiological signal. This millisecond gap is where perception is manufactured. Instead, the conscious mind immediately invents a rationalization to justify the physical flinch. They believe they are reacting to real-time behavior, completely unaware that they are merely reading off a pre-installed script. Media and entertainment industries understand this neurological flaw better than anyone. They do not influence public perception through open debate or logical persuasion. Direct arguments invite critical scrutiny and pushback. Instead, they exploit the subconscious feed. Through precise sonic engineering, like low-frequency audio cues that trigger visceral anxiety, and specific visual framing, media repeatedly conditions the nervous system to associate particular physical traits and demographics with danger, hostility, or dominance. When these tropes are repeated across decades of film, news, and music, they form a subconscious network of associations that operates on autopilot. In real-world interactions, this creates a profound disconnect. An individual walking into a room with a flat, neutral expression and quiet posture isn't broadcasting an emotion. Yet, because of media-driven priming, observers automatically project hostility onto that blank canvas. The observer's own conditioned fear is misattributed to the person standing in front of them. This dynamic is precisely why systemic control focuses on cultural mechanisms rather than explicit propaganda. Controlling the music, the narrative archetypes, and the visual language of a society allows institutions to build the implicit framework through which reality is perceived. It dictates how people view each other before they even speak, turning everyday human encounters into exercises in managed paranoia. The labor required to navigate this misperception is exhausting. People often expend immense mental energy altering their speech, softening their posture, or forcing exaggerated warmth just to neutralize the baseline anxiety of those around them. It is performative labor designed to appease a faulty receiver. Ultimately, when someone claims an unbothered, neutral presence is intimidating or hostile, they are not describing an objective fact. They are describing the limits of their own internal programming. The immediate reaction wasn't generated by the person in the room. It was engineered by the cultural machine long before either of them walked in. Once you realize that people's instant reactions are just automatic outputs from a pre-installed script, the game changes entirely. Taking it personally or meeting their baseline anxiety with your own frustration only traps you in the exact same loop, letting an engineered, mechanical reaction dictate your state of mind. Real autonomy means seeing the faulty wiring for what it is, staying grounded in your own reality, and refusing to let someone else's conditioned flinch hijack your peace. I understand. Knowledge is king.